Coming in at number 3 is a short that struck a chord with so many of you. It's all about how trauma rewires the brain and why for some kids, chaos can feel familiar, even comforting. Let's watch and unpack this together.
Seek trauma rather than seek calm because the trauma feels more calm. It feels more normal, so their pattern is more chaotic. So a lot of times any person's brain, when it has been traumatized, is actually wired to seek trauma rather than seek calm because the trauma feels more calm. It feels more normal, so their pattern is more chaotic. So a lot of times the chaos is not only their norm, but what they think they desire.
Trauma
It feels better. That's why we see military people who come home and then they want to redeploy
and it
back into
rewires
these
it to
pretty intense
prioritize
situations
survival,
because the chaos has become
which
their
makes
norm.
chaos feel familiar. In an earlier video, I told you that another video came from my training From Chaos to Calm, Effective Strategies for Handling Difficult Behaviors. This is that other clip that came from that training. This one specifically was done at a conference called ClarityCon in San Antonio, Texas, and someone was asking about children and their brain development and how trauma can cause children to seek out more chaos. They actually said, I am working with a child who has experienced this developmental trauma, and if you have watched my channel very much, you know that that's one of the things that I specialize in. And they said, it seems like this child enjoys the chaos. It seems like that's what they desire more than anything else, is just to be in a more chaotic environment. And that is when I shared with them this insight that trauma does rewire the brain. It actually makes it feel as though chaos is more comfortable. And one way to think about it is like this. This is a snow globe that I actually created for a training where I talk about PTSD. And the way that the brain works is that there are some day-to-day things, and we're all hustling and bustling throughout the day. And then eventually we're able to pause, and once we pause, everything kind of settles back down. And the brain has time to store things in short-term memory, store things in long-term memory. It has time to say, hey, we don't need to remember that at all. We can just forget it. But for the brain of someone who has experienced trauma and actually has a trauma disorder, what happens is the brain never stops shaking. It continues to live as if the trauma is going on. And when other things around it are settled, it doesn't feel comfortable. It feels like, why isn't everybody doing this the way that I'm doing it? I need more things to be like this. As I said in the clip, this is why people from the military a lot of times will go on active duty and then they'll come home and they'll tell these horror stories of the things that happened in active duty, but they'll talk about how they can't wait to get back. It's because when things are settled, it doesn't feel good to them. It feels like everything should still be shaking. And what we have to do is help their brain learn to settle down, and over time it might keep going it might keep going a little bit more, and it might keep going, but over time it can learn to settle, and then there can be some calm in the chaos. It is so important to create a predictable and safe environment for all kids, but especially kids who have experienced trauma, because their brain is feeling like, if things aren't on edge, I don't know what to do. When things feel more calm, it feels more uncomfortable for me. It feels like I don't belong here because my brain keeps shaking. And the more we can create that predictable and safe environment, the more their brain is able to relearn a new pattern. And that's the important part. It's a pattern. It's not one day of being predictable and safe. It is a pattern where you show up every day, and even though there is chaos, you continue to be predictable and you continue to be safe. And then over time, their brain learns a new way to be. It can settle down. Because really the problem with trauma is it's not what happened, it's that the brain believes that what happened is still happening, or that what happened is going to happen again very soon. So that brain doesn't feel like it can calm down. It feels like if it were to calm down, it would get re-traumatized, that more chaos would happen, and that it would happen to it, and that would be unsafe. When you can create that predictable and safe environment for kids who have experienced trauma, they are able to see that even though things feel chaotic sometimes, it's okay to settle, and it will be safe even when they do settle down. Drop a comment if you've worked with or supported a child who struggles with feeling safe, and share what has helped them most from your perspective.